That pistol someone sold last year is sitting in a case today with a price tag they never saw coming. You know what really stings? You had it. It was yours. You shot it, carried it, and maybe even liked it. Then you let it go thinking you could always pick up another one later. Turns out you couldn't. Supply disappeared fast, and now that same pistol is behind glass with a price that makes you look twice. That is not just the market, it's realizing too late what you had. I've had this conversation far too many times. Guy walks a full gun show. Every table, every back corner, even that one dealer running stuff out of a cardboard box, nothing. The gun got pulled from production or some contract wrapped up quietly, and whatever used inventory existed got swallowed into collections without a single announcement. No news posts, no price spike warning, just gone, and everyone figured it out too late. Today we're going through 10 of them. Each one hit a wall, production ended, a contract never made it to shelves, and a run closed out and never reopened. Some of these are further along that road than others. Watch the whole thing, and if this area is your corner of the hobby, subscribe. Number 10, Glock 21 SFRTF2. The texture nobody wanted turned into the pistol nobody can find. Short frame, that's what SF meant. And to be honest with you, nobody was asking for it. The standard .45 ACP frame worked fine. Glock added the RTF2 texture on top of it, and customers picked it up at the counter, felt it, and quietly put it back. The run moved slowly from day one and ended without much notice. By the time anyone started looking for one, the cupboard was bare. Current market value, approximately $650 to $900. Pros: the SF and RTF2 pairings were never brought back. Texture works well under real shooting conditions. Collectors are steadily picking off the remaining supply. Scarcity is only increasing. Cons: polarizing enough to keep the resale pool narrow. Verifying a truly stock example takes real effort. Not a gun that moves fast on the private market. Number 9. Glock 17L. The competition pistol serious shooters grabbed, and everyone else walked past. Long slide. It comes with an extended barrel, a longer slide, and a tighter sight radius, along with a factory trigger that was actually set up for competition. It is not perfect, but it is noticeably better than what most people expect right out of the box. The average buyer would pick it up and not really know what to do with it, but USPSA and IPSC shooters saw it differently. They picked it up and immediately understood it. Glock eventually discontinued it, but the competitive shooting scene kept growing. Now those same guns are selling for what they're really worth to the people who actually use them. Current market value, approximately $800 to $1,100. Pros: nothing happened after it matched this generation for competition use. Demand stays consistent through the shooting community. Factory trigger setup is a genuine advantage. Cons: too big to carry or play any defensive role. You are selling to a niche buyer every time. Private listings can sit for a while before finding the right person. Number 8. Glock 19, Generation 2. Everyone owns the new one. Almost nobody still has this one. A Gen 5 and a Gen 2 are different guns. Not better or worse. The pebbled grip has no rail and the internals are from before Glock started tinkering with the platform. Most of what's left has been used hard, modified at some point, or stored badly for a decade. A clean, unmodified original with intact finish is an actual find now. When one shows up, it moves at $700 to $950, and that number keeps pulling away from what later generations sell for. Current market value, approximately $700 to $950. Pro Zeta's collector interest has been building quietly for years. Unmodified originals are getting harder to find. The premium over later generations keeps widening. Cons: most surviving examples are well used. No rail limits practical utility today. Modification history on a used Gen 2 is often impossible to fully trace. Number 7. Glock 24. A pistol built for a lane that barely existed. Collectors are paying to find it now. Long slide .4, OS and niche from the jump duty buyers had zero interest, and most people couldn't justify it. Glock never revisited the design. No update, no replacement, no spiritual successor. What's on the used market right now is the entire final inventory. Full stop. Solid examples are sitting at $900 to $1,300. If you own one and you haven't checked what it's worth lately, spend 5 minutes on it. Current market value approximately $900 to $1,300. Pros, guys, configuration never reissued and no current equivalent exists. Collector interest is growing steadily. Prices have followed without much fanfare. Cons, limited practical appeal outside collecting. The buyer pool is genuinely small. These don't move fast on the private market. Number 6. Glock 34 Generation 3. The generation of competition shooters swear by and nobody can rebuild from scratch anymore. Ask any serious USPSA shooter who ran this generation, and you will hear the same thing every time. It comes with an extended barrel, a longer slide, and a factory trigger that is already set up for match use. You can take it straight from the box to your first stage without needing to change anything. Glock kept updating the platform over the years, and that original Gen 3 setup slowly disappeared. At this point, you really cannot rebuild it, using the parts that are still out there. Clean, unmodified examples are now selling in the range of $750 to $1,050. Current market value? Approximately $750 to $1,050. Pros. Later generations didn't replicate what this one delivered. The competitive shooting community keeps demand solid. Unmodified originals are a shrinking pool. Cons. Conditions vary a lot on what's available. Competition use destroys resale value. Need to see one in person before committing. Number 5. Glock 30S. It solved a problem most buyers never knew they had, and now it's gone. Slim slide off the 36 double stack frame from the 30, full .45 ACP capacity in something that actually rode flat instead of printing like a brick. Most people went straight to one or the other and never considered this one existed. Glock discontinued it and named nothing to replace it. Used examples are moving at $650 to $850. People who carry for a living keep calling it the most underrated thing Glock ever built. And at this point, I'm starting to think they're right. Current market value, approximately $650 to $850. Pros, slim slide double stack. 45 setups exist nowhere in the current lineup. Carrier-focused collectors keep demand alive. Production permanently finished. Cons, underappreciated from day one. Original sales numbers were low. A lot of newer buyers have no idea it ever existed. Number 4, Glock 18. The one Glock that gets more valuable every year stays off the civilian market. Different category from everything else on this list. Select fire, full auto. The Hughes Amendment in 1986 permanently closed the transferable machine gun registry. Nothing made after that date gets added, no exceptions, no workarounds. The Glock 18S already in the registry are the only ones that will ever be there. Confirmed civilian transfers are landing in the $35,000 to $50,000 range. Supply is frozen by federal law and the price moves in exactly one direction. Current market value, approximately $35,000 to $50,000 plus. Pros, no mechanism for new supply to enter the civilian market. A documented Glock 18 is irreplaceable by definition. Every completed transfer sets a new price floor. Cons. Price excludes most buyers outright. The NFA transfer process is slow and paperwork heavy. The pool of buyers who can close at this number is extremely thin. Number 3. Glock 17, Generation 1. This is where the whole story started, and the originals are almost gone. The gun that changed what a service pistol was allowed to be. Lighter, higher capacity, tougher under rough conditions than the steel-framed options it competed against. The Gen 1 has details you won't find on any later version. A different receiver, no finger grooves, and roll marks that were changed before the next generation shipped. 40-odd years of hard use, modifications, and bad storage have taken most of them out. An original finish, unmodified example with actual documentation is a serious find. Those are trading between $1,200 and $1,800. Current market value, approximately $1,200 to $1,800. Pros, first generation Glock with real historical weight. Gen 1 specific features are found on no later version. Documented clean examples command a meaningful premium. Cons. Most of what survived has been well used. Spotting a genuine, unmodified example takes real experience. Paper trails on these are often thin or non-existent. Number 2, Glock 19X. Built to win a military contract it lost and early buyers are already ahead. Glock built the pistol for the U.S. Army's modular handgun system contract to replace the M9. SIG won it with the P32 Mu. Glock brought their submission to the civilian market anyway, which honestly was the right call. Full-size Gen 5 frame, compact slide, coyote tan, lanyard loop, and roll marks that trace back to the M8's bid. First production examples sit at $650 to $850, and the spread over standard used Glocks keeps widening. Current market value approximately $650 to $850. Pros, military-backed history that regular Glocks don't carry. Early production examples are already selling above standard pricing. The MHS collector narrative keeps building value. Cons. Still in production, so scarcity-driven appreciation is limited. Wide availability means buyers have plenty of condition options. Premium over standard Glocks can be hard to justify to some buyers. Number 1. Glock 17. Built for one client. Never offered to anyone else. That's the whole story. The FBI gave Glock a spec sheet. Ambidextrous slide stop, revised trigger, different magazine release, and DLC finish. Glock built it to spec and delivered it, and that was the transaction done. No retail version, no consumer announcement, no listing anywhere. The M was never meant for the public. It was a federal contract from concept to delivery. The only civilian examples that exist came through law enforcement surplus. That was the one exit. Verified guns are trading at $1,500 to $2,500. If you have one and you haven't pulled a current number, do it now. Current market value, approximately $1,500 to $2,500 pros. Built to FBI contract spec and never sold publicly at any point. Civilian numbers are genuinely small. Verified examples sell quickly when they surface. Cons, fakes, and misrepresented examples show up more than people expect. Proper verification requires solid documentation. Getting it wrong at this price level costs a lot. The door is open right now. Nobody knows which day it will be. 10 guns, one thread through all of them. Has nothing to do with how old it is or how famous the model name is. What actually drives the price is solid engineering hitting a dead end. The run stops, the contract never goes retail, the company moves on and doesn't look back. Everything already out there becomes the complete and final supply. The market catches up to that eventually. It always does. 17Ms and Gen 1s were overlooked for years while everyone chased the newest releases. The people who picked them up during that time are not letting them go now. The same thing is happening again with the guns I just talked about. It is just earlier in the cycle before the prices catch up to what they really are. If you're holding one of these, take a real look at what you've got. The secondary market doesn't put out a press release when it shifts. These guns leave circulation and they don't come back. Drop a comment. What do you own from this list, or which one did you let go and still think about? Subscribe and stick around. Next one's already being put together. See you then.